Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is giving substance to your hope. It is the title deed to unseen realities. And we say that faith is the response of the human spirit to the Word of God. See, faith is not something that you conjure in your mind. Faith doesn't come alive to the human mind. The human mind is based on the senses. The things that are real to the human mind are those things that come to the realm of the senses. They have to come through the senses to the understanding of the mind. But you see, you can also receive information from your spirit to your mind. And then it becomes a part of your everyday life. That's why the Bible tells us to renew our minds, to renew our thinking in line with the Word of God. Now, that second subject, which is unrighteousness, is very, very important. It's so vital that until you have a good understanding of righteousness, you cannot live a true Christian life. Righteousness. Why righteousness is so important? What is righteousness? You cannot know righteousness until you know God. That's why in the word righteousness is not a subject. They don't talk about righteousness. They may talk about doing right with respect to the difference between good and evil, right and wrong. But all of that is related to man's definition of right and wrong, man's moral standards. And that keeps changing depending on who you're dealing with, where they live, and what they think is okay for them. For example, in Ireland, they voted to have gay marriage to become legal, which means as far as that society is concerned today, if you get married to a man, nothing wrong. It's right. Can you see it? Now, in another society, it is wrong. In fact, in some societies, if you have a relationship with a man and you are a man, it's the death sentence. So it's terrible in one place, it's evil in another, and it is good and right in another. So right and wrong is being defined and redefined by individuals and societies for themselves. But that's not the same with God. That's not the same with God. You see, people think that the majority is the voice of God. It's not true. Does that mean the majority always gets it wrong? That's not the point. That's irrelevant. God has his voice. God has his standards. God has his kingdom. God has his choices. God has given his opinions through Jesus Christ. You see, he sent Jesus to show us the way. I want you to get it. What is the gospel? The gospel is about God's message sent by Jesus to human beings. That's the gospel. It's God's message sent from God through Jesus Christ to human beings. That's what the gospel is. It is God revealing his mind to human beings through Jesus Christ. Because human beings didn't know exactly what to do. even though he revealed his will to them again and again. Again and again, he sent his word. But they chose to misunderstand according to the scriptures. And so God had to do the final thing of sending his message in a man, a human being that looked like them. But that human being must be separated, untouched, unstirred, unscathed by sin. He must never have been a part of sin. He must never have been connected with sin. And the only way would be that such a man, to be a man, to be human, must be born of a woman. Otherwise, he will not be a man. Because biologically, the human body comes from the woman. But he must be a man. And so, God spoke his word to a woman named Mary. And she became pregnant through the power of the spoken word. The word of God was spoken to that woman, and she received the word. And she became pregnant with Jesus. So Jesus Christ was not like any other human being. He was human because his body, his natural body, was human. But the life in him, you see, if the body alone could be alive, it would have been different. Then you see that when people die, it would mean their body became extinct instantly. But that's not what happens. You found people who died, the body is still there, everything is complete, but he's not alive. What's gone? Life. But there are different kinds of life. Different kinds of life. You have dogs have their type of life, right? Cats have theirs. Birds have theirs, and among birds, there are different kinds. Now, there was another kind of life given to one human being, Jesus of Nazareth.